Welcome back, my fellow duplicants, to the Ultimate Automation Challenge. And in this episode, I know I've been saying it a lot, but we're going to get the plastic production up and running. Why? Because we're going to refine more metal, therefore actually being able to connect this thing and get it working. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. There's been some certain ideas floating around, the ideas of working with a metal refinery to get a little bit more out of it, getting more metal refineries up and running so I can refine more metals all the time, and also working with the loader and unloader and all the fun stuff that goes on with that. Ultimately, it should be a pretty good episode. We'll make our plastic dreams come to reality. Alright, so in the last episode here, I left off with this metal refinery thinking that, you know what? I should add another metal refinery. So that's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to build up another tile right there. I'm going to get rid of this stuff because I don't need it. And there was one commenting. All right. So one of the things that was mentioned here from JD Plays is that I could create a loop that comes out of here, liquid-wise, right? And what I could do is do a temperature sensor on this. And then whether or not that temperature has reached a point where I can no longer run it through the metal refinery, then I could then pipe it over to the oil refinery to then convert it into petroleum, which would also increase its temperature, but it's not a big deal because it's going to find another way to another spot and then get destroyed or converted into something else. So I can definitely do that, create some sort of loop and then bring it back. And that way I could get a little bit more use out of the oil before I actually go and refine it. So I like that. It's a good idea. Oh, I don't know if I got space for all of this. I think I need to move that one up a little bit higher. Yeah, way up there. That ought to do it. Let's see how the temperature's doing inside my base. You know what? It doesn't look half bad. Although, this week, as you have noticed, I haven't posted as many videos. I was actually on the road, and I was down there in Alabama. Matter of fact, I was inside of a mill, and that mill was the hottest place on the planet, or at least it felt like it. So what do we got inside of here? 37 degrees Celsius? At the maximum? What is that in Fahrenheit? For those of us that 98 degrees? Psh, honestly, that was the cool temperature that I experienced. I kid you not, I was doing a little bit of laser scanning inside of this mill, and on the low side, the scanner was telling me that it was about 120 degrees Fahrenheit. Now that was inside the unit, so it was probably about, 10 degrees warmer, but that got up to about 139 degrees in some warmer spots that were next to like some heat ducts things. However, I went up into some mezzanine, like some area well above, thinking, from up here I could just scan everything, right? Because I could see everything. Knowing that it would be a little bit warmer. As I was going up the steps, it was like, okay, it's about 5 degrees warmer, about 10 degrees warmer. But what I didn't know is a lot of the heat ducts were running up in that same mezzanine. And holy cow, open this door, experienced the hottest place I have ever been in my life. And honestly, since I actually was able to measure some of the temperatures around there, it had to be upwards of 150 degrees Fahrenheit. It was like stepping into an oven. Kind of hard to breathe. Massively humid. And it was an experience. A very sweaty experience. So, duplicants, the highest temperatures you're seeing is like 37 degrees Celsius. You can just suck it up, because honestly that was over 60. In case you're wondering, if you are in areas of temperature that high, you don't stay there for very long, people. You make sure you drink lots of water and take a break every once in a while to cool down, because heat stress is a big deal. And you certainly don't want to experience heat stroke, because that would be really, really bad. So keep that stuff in mind if you ever find yourself in an extremely hot environment. And make sure you drink lots of water. So, looking at my base here, it's not too bad. I think it's working out. I've got a little bit of hydrogen. This thing isn't running too much. I think that's because the lower limit, things might heat it up as I move some stuff around. So I'm going to take this and say, rather than being negative 20, let's just go ahead and run it a little bit more at negative 10. The farm is honestly just staying nice and cool. It's not a big deal. It's 24 degrees Celsius in there. Beautiful, comfortable temperature. But I will run this a little bit more to keep the base cool. Speaking of which, it seems like half the country is going to be on fire this week. So, stay cool, guys. Alright, so I'm why couldn't I deconstruct this one? Okay. All right, so there we go. So I can plug that in. This is the wrong piece of equipment. Darn it. This is what I wanted. I knew it was 3 tiles wide. Gosh, I got confused. There you go. Here, we'll plug that one in. And deconstruct that piece because we don't need it. And maybe turn the priority up on this one a little bit so that it actually runs. Which means maybe I want to have a valve here to actually be able to shut it off. There, I'll just put a little valve down here that will enable it to kind of stay cool. What was I saying? Not stay cool. That'll enable it to, that'll enable me to turn that off so that I can force the metal refinery to run more. That's what I'm trying to say. So the other thing I'll need is I need to mine up a lot of metal that I can use to just make conveyor rail. So I need to find a big pile of that and dig it up if I can find it anywhere. Preferably, I'd like to use iron because, you know, it's easy, it's cheap, it's not really anything that's too special. Gold amalgam has a little bit more uses as far as its ability to endure higher temperatures. So I'd like to not use that if possible, but I think I'm stuck using gold amalgam. All right, so I've queued up a whole bunch of gold amalgam to be dug up. So that'd be pretty good. Okay, so let's see what it would take in order to convey plastic out of here. I hold shift like I'm supposed to. There you go. And then you lag. There. All right, so if I convey this plastic over here, wow. At least I have a lot of it, right? So plastic comes in, and then I bring it down. And then I go to the automatic storage and retrieval system right down here. Ha! So it would be just like that. It looks like I have more than enough material to actually make that happen. It looks like I also have a lot of wolframite up here, which will be really useful for thermal shift plates and things that need to really transfer a lot of stuff because I can refine that into tungsten, which is very useful. One thing I've been meaning to do for a long time, but I haven't done it for whatever reason, is to get this loader up and running for all the coal that's coming off of my stone hatches over here. Not to mention I also got a sage hatch, so there's a good amount of, you know, polluted oxygen down there. So what I should really have inside of here is a deodorizer, and that will get rid of that so I don't end up with a lot of nasty germs, which you can see is happening up there. Yuck. So Darkblade here was actually talking about how walls actually increase decor. Now I messed around a little bit with this kind of in the preview, so I'm curious to see what the decor would look like in here before and after we add a bunch of walls. So in this one tile right here, you can see the decor is at plus 125. It's at a plus 123.5. So if you're not dyslexic like me, you can actually read that correctly. So I'm gonna add some walls just to see what happens inside of there. Not because it needs a wall at all. It's usually used to keep, you know, the gas inside your base if you're up near the top for space, but I don't have that going on. So we're just going to go ahead and do granite, which has a plus 20% decor bonus. And I'm just gonna wall this place in because we're a real baller. And let's see if that increases the decor at all. That's a lot of granite. Alrighty, what do we got for decor? That's actually gone down. That's because I'm getting a debuff. Alright, so now, taking a look at the decor, it's still 123.5. And that's kind of what I observed beforehand, which is why I really didn't mention anything about it. I know granite gives a buff. However, in this situation, it doesn't actually buff the decor. So I don't know if that's going to change later, but I just built a bunch of walls and the decor didn't change at all. And that's probably because the walls themselves don't actually have a decor rating at all. So the plus 20% is 20% on 0. So it doesn't have any effect at all. It does look fancy though, so I'll give it that. Alright, so now looking back at my auto sweeper, and you can see just how much coal I have down here. Oh, it's nearly maxed out. Watch what happens when I add all of this coal to it. Boom, look at that. Look at how much there is. Look at that. Coal, just transferring like crazy. That thing's gonna be running for a while. Look at that, 500 and some kilograms right there. Nearly 2,000 in that spot. Just tons and tons of, is that really what I saw? Hang on. Wow, there's 5.3 tons of coal in that one spot. Way to go, Sage Hatch. That thing's actually doing really good. All right, so I'm not gonna worry about the recirculating, temperature loop at the current moment, just because I actually want to get the plastic up and running today, hopefully. That's my goal, so I'm gonna stay focused on that. So I just need to have enough refined material in order to make that happen. So that's what I'm going to try to do. Speaking of which, I probably cannot do that because it's blocked off. Yet another spot, I need another valve. There, that's no longer blocked, so that should be able to run more. All right, so I'm going to use the exact same power trick that I've used thus far, and I'm going to enable the connected to this battery. So what I have is a conductive wire that's going to feed in to the battery, but that's only going to be connected, or shall I say the loop is only going to be active. I don't know what I'm trying to say. All right, so here's what I'm going to try to do. I have 2 power shutoffs, and I'm going to charge up this battery here using the 2 kilowatt power. And then out of that battery, I'm going to run a 1 kilowatt wire, which is just kind of a low, cheap wire. And that circuit will only, these 2 circuits will never be active at the exact same time. There's going to be a signal that runs with a NOT gate, so that depending on if there's power in the battery or not, things will be in a different state. So I can charge it up and then dump it into the plastic. So it'll just kind of be on and off like that. So it'll run up and then whoops. So I think it will look something like this. So that signal there will charge up and then the other one will flip. Yes, and I do have enough refined metals to make that happen. That little trick there might save me just enough, refined metals to where I really don't have to wait a long time in order to get it. Ah, unreachable. Get up here, dupes. You can do it. You can see I've pretty much maxed out the amount of hydrogen I have again. So I'm going to take some of that and try to fill this up just a little bit more. I would really like this to be hydrogen right down to this point right there. And then below that can just be mixed gas. You can see I've got a door there, and that's going to allow access for the duplicants to come in and out. And that's at the bottom so that I don't leak a bunch of hydrogen every time I try to send a duplicant inside of here. I'm also plugging in this liquid pump over here on the left so that it can, if I have extra petroleum here, I can let it dump out. I can put an automation signal inside of here depending on, what the volumes are or how much I want before this thing actually activates. But for right now, since there's just lots of petroleum in here, I'm just going to go ahead and pump that out. I should put a bridge over here so that this fills up before it actually goes and overflows into the tank, rather than having this choice. So it should look like that, and then I'll take this one down, and hopefully somebody comes over here and turns this off. Please turn it off. Tell you what, I'll select a different gas so I can't pump through there. There you go. Oh, now you come up and turn it off. Okay. Well, that worked out. I have hydrogen all the way down here. I had to reset this back to -20. Unfortunately, the gas that was inside there was just cycling so much that it wasn't actually becoming... I didn't build up enough quantity in one spot. So what's moving through here is really insignificant, and it's not cooling down my farm, so it actually started to heat back up again. A little bit, not too much, but... Hey, you see what's going on over here? Plastic! Check it out. Wait, why is only one running? Not pumping. Why are you not pumping? Overload damage. Wait a minute, what's going on here? Wait, how? What kind of automation is this if it doesn't work? Oh, because it's a NOT gate. Wait, that should work. What? I'm gonna reload the game. All right, so the battery is draining. Yes, and this one is the only one running, apparently, for no good reason, I suppose. And now this battery is going to get Nice and low. We saw the doors open there for a minute and all the plastic dropped to the bottom. But once that hits 0, yeah, it flipped back and forth, so it should be filling up now. Alright, so what's going on here? This thing is just not... Why is this not working? That doesn't make any sense to me. Batteries always balance. Or maybe they don't. I might just be wrong on that. Let's try this. Let's just try to put a tiny battery in here and see how that changes everything. Well, okay, apparently I don't have any more gold amalgam. Oh, this game just went nuts. It lost all of its nope, never mind. Oh my gosh. Weird things are happening. If I set that to 40, set this to 40, so that they're at least tied together. All right, so I'm going to flip the automation here so that that is active with that. Basically the backwards. Whatever. I'm kind of tired. How about this? This just isn't working. And I'm just going to deconstruct it, and we'll do something different here. On a side note, the neural vacillator has now been revealed, so I'm going to bring Meep over here and see what kind of bonus we can give him this time. All right, buddy, I'm not going to torture you this time. I know you're hungry. Ta-da! Still vibrating. Felt a little bit better. Ooh, we got a rock crusher trait. Plus 10 to strength. How strong is Meep now? Holy moly, he's got to be like really, really, really strong. Strength. Plus 15. That ought to do it. I mean, somebody else should really be a rancher, and Meep should maybe be in charge of like tidying or delivering or something like that. Should really swap it around. So Meep is going to move over to the exosuit engineer position. Could you imagine picking up and moving 600 kilograms? What is that in like pounds? No, stop, Google. 1,300 pounds! Meep, you're a beast! See, now this one's running. Got a little bit of a polymer press going. We got plastic that's now being produced at 17 degrees Celsius, which isn't half bad. The water is not freezing. What's that temperature set to? Ooh, it should be running. So let me go ahead and connect that up. And that was under ventilation. Yes. Gas shut off. Bingo. Oh, that's what it was. Aha. I found it. It's because these gas pipes, they can't necessarily combine on top of each other. You actually have to use a bridge to make it work. So you know what this means. We can now start to make some nice plastic ladders. Which I can't just build over, apparently. Now my duplicates can't get where they need to go. The system here seems to be working out really quite well, as far as being able to pump petroleum out of here and repower itself and also stay cool. Temperatures as, 46 degrees or so. You can see the carbon dioxide flowing in here from the left, starting to fill this area, and every once in a while that thing will turn on. Also have quite a bit of natural gas in here that will activate every once in a while again to kind of fill up that power. The one thing is that the auto sweeper here can't reach necessarily everything. It's got to move down a little bit. Maybe I actually put the auto sweeper right here and then the receptacles and stuff right there, and then it can actually reach pretty much everything. Or maybe right there, I don't know. For whatever reason, I can't get a duplicant to come over here and work on this, even though I've set the priority to 9. Gold amalgam has become very hard to move from one spot to another. Even though I have it down here, it's just not, people aren't moving it. So I'm going to try this. I'm going to make this storage compactor, and I'll give it a priority level of 6. And we'll see if sweeping this up, becomes a priority for anybody. We've got Meep over here. He can carry a whole bunch of stuff, so he should be able to pick up quite a lot of stuff, but he's picking up slime. Slime is actually starting to take a lot of effort. So I'm going to lower the priority on that so that we stop delivering to this sage hatch. It's actually costed me a lot of travel time. You can see some of the heat that's coming off of this polymer press. The nullifier is not running currently because I just can't get anybody up here to build the thing. But we should see that heat actually drop down quite low once we actually get, this thing up and running. There we go. So now this is working. A lot of people are filling up the gold amalgam, compactor right there. Moving huge amounts. Well, some of them. Like, look at Gossman. What is her skills? Not a huge amount. Bubbles, maybe you're super strong. Strength, only 4. So nobody, just me super strong. But that was still 1,560 kilograms that you picked up and swept. But look at her digging, 25. So once I reconnect these so that the bridges will actually combine the tiles that are moving here, because you see how this constantly moves? You can't combine the two tiles. There's one that's always waiting for an opening. So that's what the gas bridge is doing there. So that should hopefully fix my problem. There we go, now they're all running. So if that's above -30, then we're going to start to run the nullifier. So the temperature here is now going to start to drop. So we should see that this is now going to actually start to cool down a little bit. There's not a ton of movement inside of here, so that might be one reason to actually take a Wheezewort and put it inside of here. But we'll just have to see how it all works out. All this heat here should try to make its way up, and since there's cold up there, they should try to pretty much, even out. So the heat production of the thermal nullifier is at -400 watts. However, the heat production of these polymer presses is at 162.5 each. So what that means is that there's 87.5 watts of heat being created in this environment. So the heat is always going to go up, unless of course I add something like a Wheezewort down here. So if I add this Wheezewort, then I should be able to do a couple of things. I should be able to drop the temperature continuously because, one, the Wheezewort has a little bit of cooling capacity itself. That's going to be added to the 400. And the other thing is it's going to circulate the gas in that environment. Here's another thing I can do, obviously, just to kind of automate this a little bit more, since I do want to have cooling loops back here as well. I'm going to go ahead and use automation wires, and I'm going to make sure I connect that so that all the plastic drops down. But the other thing is I'm also going to run thermal sensors to these polymer presses so that they turn off to let this thing cool down if it becomes a little bit too hot. The amount of plastic I have now is pretty good, and the amount of plastic I can produce in the cycle is also really good too. Here we can see the automatic storage retrieval system just kind of sorting things out. So once plastic comes down here, it'll all end up in this storage compactor right there. That is, once I get all of that built. All the way back over here. Not long and it'll be built. So I'm just going to say if this is above 0 degrees Celsius, then I'm going to turn it off. You can see here it was off just for a little while and the temperature's already fallen out of there. But unfortunately, it looks like I ran out of power down here. Luckily, I have plenty of refined metals now, so I can go ahead and just plug this in and make good use of it. Ha! Take care of that. But what I really want to do is start making some nice plastic ladders. Look at that, 3,931. I also have some gold here, so let's pimp out some floor tiles. Make that happen. Ooh, looks like the shipping is all ready to go. That is once I get some power up in there. I have to re-enable that. Now, how did this convert all to polluted water? What's going on there? Oh no, some ice melted. That's what's up. Sorry, I want all of these to be below that. And for whatever reason, the temperature did not stay. There we go. So what's the decor like in here now? Ooh, it's pretty good. Look at that, down there by the tiles, over 200. That's a pretty fancy room. I'm working the automation a little bit more to kind of get this system up and running more. It's no longer trying to power the rest of this system back here. It's only powering the stuff on the left. No, I wanted to deconstruct, not the ceiling. Ah, there we go, some nice fancy plastic ladders. Get these duplicates flying around here. Oh, speaking of which, I have to deliver that. I can now. Boom. There we go. And it's off shipping around. Look at all that plastic go. Unfortunately, it's kind of hot. It's 58 degrees Celsius. Gosh, look at that. Just solid plastic. Boom. And all of it's being sorted over here. I love it. And all of that power is being provided from our coal, which is coming from our hatches up here. Look at how many hatches I have now. Crap, that's like too many sage hatches. I just want stone. Give me more stone. Honestly, I have so much coal, it's like I don't know what to do with all of it. Actually, I think that you need coal for like ceramics or something like that. Awesome. It really does help, just like how fast they run and everything. Or at least how they go up and down the ladders. I mean, this is super fast over here with the fire pole. Not when they go up, but once you get to the plastic, whoosh, they fly. Of course, the only thing that's going to be faster than that is once I put in some transit tubes. All right, so let's watch this run. I've got about 240 kilograms up here on the top tile. Relatively hot though, still 63 degrees Celsius. But once the day cycle opens up here, we'll see that this will drop down to the bottom. And there we go, it's delivered and then starts to convey through the night, and that'll be delivered in the morning. And up starts the next day. Interesting how the temperature of this is just so hot. For the most part, this top polymer press runs continuously, and I've yet to see these other ones turn on, you know, as far as how the temperature is kind of bouncing around here. It does seem to be continuing to get a little bit cooler, but I've decided to reward my duplicants since they finally made it to this nice milestone with a snazzy suit. So there you go, Meat. Go grab your snazzy suit. There you go. Look at how nice and happy he is. Plus, you get a little bit of decor boost as you're running around. All right, well, I think that was a pretty successful episode here. I was able to get the plastic production up and running and actually produce enough to build some pretty sweet ladders that help the travel time be reduced a little bit. Obviously, from here, we got to go to transit tubes, and that'll be pretty cool. However, I think the next thing I need to do is work on getting some more water into my base. So there's a good chance I think I might just go over here and try to tap into this cool steam vent at some point. Not to mention the big body of water down there below. That could probably be coupled with my need to start cooling the base because you know what? This is pretty hot. And now I'm starting to, you know, saturate some of this cooling capacity I have over here on the left with a bunch of these plastic production units. So we will just have to see how this all runs in the future here, but for right now I think it's running pretty good, and it's nice to see that I can finally get some plastic into the base, and that's a very nice thing to have. So there you have it, guys. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this little episode here of Oxygen Not Included. If I've earned your subscription, then thank you so much for that. Have a great day, guys. Stay awesome. Peace. Brothgar out.